Hello, my name is Misty Trinidad, and I'm a wellness coordinator here at North Kansas City Hospital. I am excited to be sharing information on healthy changes for your heart. Healthy Changes for Your Heart is a 4-part video series. We will be learning how food, exercise, and stress can affect your heart health, and how making even small lifestyle changes in your diets and activity levels can improve your cholesterol and heart health. We will also learn about medication options to help lower cholesterol. Let's get started. Here's what we will be accomplishing with this first session. We will identify the role of cholesterol. We'll identify normal ranges for cholesterol. We'll identify a lifestyle change to improve your cholesterol. Identify any risk factors to heart disease. And identify a lifestyle change to improve cholesterol. Here is a quick glance at the schedule for our series. We are here today because high cholesterol is a major risk factor for heart attack, heart disease, and stroke. According to a recent report from the CDC, approximately 94 million Americans have a cholesterol reading above the normal level. Many of the factors that contribute to these unhealthy levels are preventable. We want to help you identify your risk factors and empower you with the knowledge and resources to make changes now in order to keep your heart and cholesterol numbers in a healthy range. Cholesterol often gets a bad name. However, we absolutely need cholesterol. Cholesterol is so important because it builds the structure of our cells, it supports the livelihood of our hormones, and it helps our body produce vitamin D. All of these components depend on cholesterol to contribute to good quality health. But when does cholesterol become bad? Our bodies produce enough cholesterol to meet the body's daily needs. Cholesterol is a waxy substance produced naturally in the liver, and it is found in many of the foods we eat. For example, animal products such as meat, poultry, and dairy. The liver begins to produce even more cholesterol when a person's diet is high in both saturated and trans fat. You can see how this becomes too much of a good thing. If our diets are high in saturated and trans fats, or we're not active enough to use any extra cholesterol we're consuming, the extra cholesterol begins to hang out in our bloodstream, and it forms plaque in the artery walls. This makes it difficult for the blood to circulate throughout the body. Plaque is a hard, thick deposit that causes arteries to become less flexible and potentially clogged. It's kind of like shoveling mud in the end of a water hose and expecting the water to freely flow out of the hose. This picture is a good description. The yellow is the plaque. The red is the blood and the blood cells trying to circulate. You can see how the plaque is making it a little hard. Do you see another potential risk in this picture? If a chunk of the plaque that is stuck to the side of the artery wall breaks away from the wall, it eventually will get stuck and result in a blood clot. If a clot obstructs an artery that sends blood to the brain, a stroke could happen. If a clot clogs an artery that leads to the heart, you guessed it, a heart attack can happen. Understanding our risk begins with understanding our cholesterol levels. Healthy cholesterol levels keep the heart healthy, which lowers the risk of having a stroke or developing heart disease. As many of you know, you check your cholesterol by a blood sample. According to the American Heart Association, the current recommendation is that a healthy adult age 20 and older should have their cholesterol checked every 4 to 6 years. But let's define heart healthy. This means a person is not overweight, they're exercising at least 20 minutes every day, they have no family history of heart disease or high cholesterol, the person does not smoke and they only drink in moderation, their diet is not high in processed or fatty foods, and their current cholesterol reading is below 20 milligrams per deciliter. However, if you identify with one or more of those items, you should talk to your doctor about how often you should have your cholesterol checked. Our bodies compensate for some of our bad choices we make for so long. We can eat fast food a little more often in our youth and get away with it. However, as we begin to age, our body's ability to compensate changes. For example, I've always had normal body weight, a perfect blood pressure, great cholesterol, and a pretty good activity level. However, my diet is not always stellar. When I turned 50, my cholesterol began to betray me. Therefore, I had to take time and sit down and look at my lifestyle and decide where I could make some needed changes. More on that in just a minute. When we get our cholesterol checked, we get these different readings back. Here are some important things to remember. Total blood cholesterol. This test measures the total amount of cholesterol in the blood, including the LDL, the bad cholesterol, and the HDL, which is the good cholesterol. The optimal total cholesterol level is less than 200 milligrams per deciliter. If total cholesterol levels are above 240, that's considered too high. Your HDL cholesterol, or the good cholesterol, it has an important job of removing the bad cholesterol from the bloodstream and escorting it to the liver to be excreted out of the body. The higher the levels of the HDL, the better. A person with less than 40 milligrams per deciliter of HDL is at greater risk of developing heart disease. A reading of 60 and above is considered healthy, and it really protects against the development of heart disease. LDL, bad cholesterol. This guy is what causes all of the plaque to stick together and hang out on our artery walls. Low levels of LDL cholesterol are considered beneficial to our health. Optimal levels of LDL cholesterol should be below 100 milligrams per DL. High levels of LDL cholesterol range between 160 to 189, and levels above 190 milligrams per deciliter is considered very high. Triglycerides. This is another type of fat found in the body. It is another number that helps us determine our risk for heart disease and stroke. For example, low levels of HDL and high levels of LDL cholesterol mixed with high triglycerides, that can really contribute and increase the risk of fatty buildup in our arteries. Once you know your numbers, you can start to understand your risk level. There are many factors that affect our cholesterol levels. Some of these factors we can control, and some of them we cannot control. If you look at the slide on the left side, these are the ones we can control. Diet, weight, activity levels, tobacco use, and alcohol consumption. Factors that are outside of our control are family history, age, race, and ethnicity. Problems with cholesterol generally don't happen overnight. For example, a poor diet occasionally is not going to cause plaque buildup, but years of a consistent diet high in saturated fat can contribute to rising blood cholesterol levels. Physical activity. When we are physically inactive, we do not use up that extra cholesterol in our bloodstream. Therefore, this increases the risk of developing heart disease and high levels of bad cholesterol. Weight. Researchers know that being overweight is a known risk factor for heart disease, which in effect causes the cholesterol levels to rise. Even though researchers do not fully understand the disparity between why some races are more affected with high cholesterol, they do agree there is a connection between race and high cholesterol. For example, African Americans have approximately a 10% greater risk of developing heart disease and cholesterol compared to their white counterparts. As we get older, LDL levels tend to rise and HDL levels tend to drop. Darn it. Since we cannot control this, it's important to control the things we do have control over. Heredity. Your genes partly determine how much cholesterol your bodies make. Therefore, if you have a parent that has or had high cholesterol, chances are this will become an issue for you as well. Steps to a healthy heart include knowing your numbers, identifying your risk factors, and creating a plan of action. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for men, women, and people of certain racial and ethnic groups in the United States. According to the American Heart Association, an estimated 80% of cardiovascular disease, including heart disease and stroke, are preventable. That is a staggering statistic. This means that a person can live longer and have a better quality of life by making intentional lifestyle changes. Sometimes it feels overwhelming to know where to begin. Let's go over a game plan. First, know your numbers. Have your cholesterol levels checked to create a baseline. You can do this with your primary care doctor or participate in North Kansas City's free monthly clinic. This information will be provided towards the end of the presentation. Identify your risk factors. Make a list of all the factors we discussed that increase your risk of heart disease. For example, my issue with cholesterol was identified with my family history, my age, and my diet. Therefore, I created a plan of action. I could not do anything about my age, and I can't do anything about my family history. Therefore, I made a small commitment to pack my lunch every day during the week, making sure it was heart healthy. I also added a little bit more activity to my lifestyle. I started walking 20 minutes every morning before work. I rechecked my cholesterol 6 months after implementing my plan of action, and my cholesterol had already improved. A recent study revealed just 30 minutes of exercise every morning has shown to be as effective as medication at lowering blood pressure and lowering cholesterol. The key factor here is it is a consistent lifestyle change. The research study talked about a daily 30-minute walk. Walking is easy for most of us. It's free. It also provides additional benefits, such as improving symptoms of depression and reducing stress levels. We are also going to provide you with an exercise and a food log. Each of you will receive a log that you can use as a guide to mark down the food that you are eating and the exercise that you are participating in. Using a food and exercise log may help you stay accountable and allow you to visualize your diet and your activity level. I know this helped me realize how often I was eating unhealthy foods. Let's go over a few key points. Issues with cholesterol, such as plaque buildup, occur over time. However, once there is a problem, it is an issue that cannot be ignored. In order to reduce the risk of heart disease, heart attack, or stroke, it is important to know your numbers, identify your risk factors, and create a plan. Searching for resources to support your plan is easy and important. For example, Attending one of our free Ask a Nurse clinics at Gladstone Community Center is a great place to ask a registered nurse your questions and identify additional resources. A local library is a great resource for free cookbooks, nutrition, and activity ideas. Next week, we will be providing information on healthy eating. I hope you plan to watch. Here is the website that you can go to check out some great classes and free clinics. It's listed here on the slide, but I'll read it to you as well. nkch.org/classes-events. Check this out for some free cholesterol clinic. You can also get your glucose checked, blood pressure checked. But you will also notice as you are scrolling through the website, there is a wonderful selection of nutrition and fitness classes. These are either free or reasonably priced. The next video in our series, like we mentioned, is Nutrition and Cholesterol, Healthy Eating for Your Heart with Lindsay Moore, our registered dietitian. Again, this is a wonderful resource to help you look at how you're eating and to implement some healthy choices. This was a lot of great information, but if you have a specific question to this video in this series, please reach out to myself, Misty Trinidad, or another wellness nurse here at North Kansas City. You may know her, Tracy Manus. We would love to answer your questions. So some of your homework today is to set up an appointment to get your cholesterol checked if you haven't done so lately, and then write down all the factors that increase your heart disease risk. Visit us at one of the free clinics at the Gladstone Community Center and allow us to help you create a plan. Again, thank you for joining us today. Have a healthy day.